My 2-year-old son came up to me the other day. I went back home to the UK, and he said, "Daddy, I'm going to have a baby." And I said, "Zach, you can't have a baby because you're a boy. You're a man. You can't have babies." And he said, "Well, I'm going to be a girl. I want to be a girl." What would you have said to him if you were me?
Well, I wouldn't have said, "Zach, you're a boy and boys can't have babies," because that's absolutely not true. So, I mean, I don't know what your parenting is like.
And you don't think think boys can have babies?
You mean males?
Yes.
Yes.
You think males can have babies?
Yes.
Right. So you're happy prescribing 9-year-old children with
the alternative,
with puberty blockers, cross hormones.
Puberty blockers are the best time for puberty blockers is when puberty starts.
She called me a bad parent on Twitter over the past 48 hours, believe it or not. Welcome back to The Late Show Live. I'm Ben Leo. That, of course, was my rather explosive interview with Dr. Helen Weberly, who is the founder of online transgender clinic gendergp.com. She's setting up camp here in America. She's going after American kids. She defended the controversial use, of course, of drugs and whatever else, puberty blockers for children as young as 9. Following that interview on Sunday, the Trump administration, this side of the pond, has released a brand new peer-reviewed study showing that puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones and surgical procedures on children pose significant long-term harm to kids that have been, quote, ignored or poorly tracked by mainstream medicine. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the US Secretary of State for Health and Human Services, says the treatments have caused lasting physical and psychological damage to vulnerable young people. However, many major medical organisations have since hit out at the report in disagreement, with the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Paediatrics and the Endocrine Society, saying gender-affirming care, i.e. care for kids, trans kids, when done properly, is apparently safe. Well, joining me in the studio to discuss this is Republican strategist Colin Reed. Colin, good evening. Thanks for your company.
Great to be here, Ben. Try to live up to the fireworks of that previous interview.
Oh, with President Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that one.
That
Sorry.
one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. She was crackers. But the concerning thing is, Colin, she's now doing the rounds outside the White House, putting out social media videos saying, "I'm in America, I'm in Washington, D.C. American kids, if you want puberty blockers, if you want cross hormones, come to my website, £30 a month, £200 subscription fee." She's coming after your kids now.
Well, this is an issue that was largely litigated over here, the broader issue, in the presidential campaign when Donald Trump ran that famous ad saying that Kamala Harris is for they, them, and I'm for you. And so that issue spoke to the broader trans issue. This one is even more narrow because it's about children. And that's where I think you really start to see people get concerned, because it's going to have impact on people who don't have the ability to make those kind of decisions. But look, this report, Ben, we've seen this with other reports. This is peer reviewed. This has liberals on it by all their accounts, and the people are assailing the report. But remember, 4 years ago, the science is settled. When you're talking about climate change ending the world, you're talking about the COVID shot and all things like that. So science is only settled when the science supports the left's point of view.
Yeah.
If it's not, God help you, because the people they're going to come after you.
It's funny.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth. But
this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind. The more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
You mentioned climate change and COVID because I said to Helen Webley during that interview, I said, I reckon in about 10 to 15 years, people are going to look back on this whole transing children phase and say, well, I never had anything to do with that. Same thing with COVID. We had, ironically, the COVID inquiry in the UK today where, various stupid findings have been found. But now, 5 years after COVID, people are like, oh no, I never advocated for mandatory vaccinations of experimental gene therapies and so on. I said, I think the same thing will happen with this.
And put people out of work and ended livelihoods. And then on the climate change, according to some of those reports, you look back 15 or 20 years ago, we're all supposed to be underwater at this point in time.
Snow.
The world's supposed to be over. Meanwhile, people on both sides of the Atlantic are suffering huge electric prices, energy prices. You've got some of the most oil, as the president pointed out, in the North Sea, totally off limits to drilling because of this wacko science. So this is what happens when your science, your quote unquote science, doesn't support the left's point of view. It's you're just taken to the woodshed, and you've seen it. By the way, the Trump administration, they tried to roll back many things that the Biden administration did over the 4 years, and people forget President Trump was elected for a lot of reasons, but the main one was people felt this country was out of control in a number of different ways, and he came in here and he promised he was going to do the things he's doing, and that's why you see people respond to him. Yeah,
and by the way, just for clarity, before people watching this, shout at the TV calling you or I a bigot, you and me a bigot. I don't care what adult trans people do. If you want to go and chop your genitals off, or you want to live your life as a woman or a man, you do you. Up to you. Just keep yourself to yourself. That's fine. I'm a libertarian really at heart. My issue comes with children. And we've seen now from this HHS report from Robert RFK Jr. that he says, quote, there are significant long-term and often ignored effects of puberty blockers that cause permanent harm. So that's my concern, the children. And now we know this from this peer-reviewed study.
Peer-reviewed is important.
Peer-reviewed. Yeah. So do you not think now the White House, HSS, Kennedy will be, I don't know, maybe they'd like to know about Helen Webley, this British doctor. She's setting up camp here. As I said, she's coming after American kids.
Yeah, well, we'll see. This is an issue that the president, his entire administration, has not shied away from pointing out their differences on the point of view. It's an issue that resonated with a lot of parents across this country, especially as you get beyond that and you have men in women's sports and just the fundamental unfairness that leads to. So this is a broader debate. It's one where, even on the left, by the way, Gavin Newsom, you saw him back in March walk away from some of these views he's had because he understands that this is not a winner with the American public. Yeah. And the left has a lot of things where they're just seen as wildly out to lunch with the middle of this country, not even the middle of this country, most of this country. This is one of them where they're going to have to get right or they're never going to get elected again.
Do you think that people such as Gavin Newsom, do you think the electorate will remember or forget his kind of antics and his views on things when it comes to 2028, assuming he's the Democrat nominee? He may not be, but
well, California's already got some of the highest electric prices, some of the highest taxes, some of the highest places to live. So he's got a whole lot of baggage he's carrying into this election. I'll give the guy credit, though. He's being transparent about the fact that he wants to run, and based on the complete lack of other contenders on that bench, he's probably got a clean shot at it. But yeah, he's got a whole lot of skeletons in his closet he's going to have to carry into that election.
I know we're a few years out, but final question to you: who are going to be the runners and riders in 28? Dem nominee and Republican nominee. Vance, Newsom.
Well, Vance is the early front runner right now, but then on the Democratic side, that's where all the fireworks are going to be, because you're going to see this wild rush to the left. You're going to see that mayor up in New York City, a communist. He's going to try. Someone like him is going to try and run. And honestly, the energy's there, so they better be careful. They better watch out.
Mamdani, he's in the White House tomorrow.
Should be electric.
Why is Trump meeting him tomorrow?
Well, Trump's a New Yorker. I think people, look, whatever your political differences, I think people expect you to at least be able to sit down and have a conversation like this. Yeah. Where it goes, who knows? It should be good TV.
Yeah, definitely. Colin, thank you so much. Appreciate your company. Colin Reed, Republican strategist. gbnews.com/your say. Should the United States government tell Helen Webley, sorry, you ain't setting up camp here in America? We'll keep a keen eye on that.